one of the most unique events in sports. No other sport allows the competitors a blank canvas to physically build their own individual courses.
3, 2, 1.
The riders, armed with only shovels, pickaxes, and sandbags, and each allowed 2 diggers carve out their lines, build their takeoffs, and set their landings.
The flat drop.
Wow, those guys are absolutely crazy.
Into the step down. He's got a kicker. Does he flip it? It's really hard to wrap your head around the magnitude of this terrain.
Rampage is all about the natural terrain, using natural features.
He goes for it, the 360. Oh, not this time.
The majority of the population, they wouldn't even touch this mountain.
Oh, sends it so deep, but hold on. Look how exposed and how steep that is. Almost like a dirt jump section on steroids on the side of the mountain. Once again of history here in Utah.
There is no other event like it in the world, and there is no other place like Virgin, Utah. When you sit here amongst these mountains here in Zion National Park, you are just mind blown looking at these mountains as they lay still. But then you add the element of free ride mountain biking, and you realize that this is indeed something special. It is the day before competition day. Sal Masekela here with the one and only Pat Parnell. I mean, just that intro alone, Pat, if that doesn't get you fired up.
Oh, I think it goes without saying we've had chicken skin since we got here this week, and watching all the digging crews, the riders start to figure out their lines. Just looking at, you heard that soundbite from Cam McCall from previous years, wrapping your head around just the sheer magnitude of what lays behind us. Most people wouldn't even consider walking up it, let alone even fathoming riding down it. And it's that type of terrain that brings the world's best free riders. And each year, the level, it just keeps getting pushed farther and farther. The bar this year, they're saying everyone is predicting the best Rampage ever. And I know that sounds a little bit of hype, but every year it lives up to the hype.
Indeed. We're at a new venue.
Yeah.
And every time that there's a course switch up here, the riders get excited. Why?
In terms of this terrain, which is great about this new venue, is it speaks to every single rider. It really allows them to open up, tap into what they're good at. You're going to be hearing from a lot of the riders, guys like Lekondagi. He likes that, the fact that there's exposure and he's able to open up with speed, and there's riders that are going to utilize the natural terrain, the features, the rocks. We talk about the digging crew, and this is one of those things that it separates this event from anything else on the planet, that they come here 10 days before, and also to assess it even prior to that, but you're allowed 2 diggers, and they have to assess their line and then figure out, okay, now we have to build it. Once it's built, then it comes to, okay, how are we going to ride it? So you see all the crews right now still trying to dial in. They have only until tomorrow to finish things up here, and we should point out, it's been just dead calm for the past couple of days, just a little tough a wind here and there, but right now, unfortunately, the wind is picking up. A lot of the riders able to get most of their lines kind of connected. What they do is they'll take their run and they'll do it in stages. And unfortunately, some of the bigger sections that they're going to be gapping, there's some 2 step-down sections. Unfortunately, with that wind right now, it makes it that much more challenging.
I had a chance to walk up the hill today and stop and talk to some of the diggers. And I asked one of the kids, I said, what drives you? He said, man, being able to dig for a friend at the greatest mountain biking event in the world is like, I would quit my job. If my job told me that I couldn't take the leave to come and do this, yeah, I would just quit. This is the most important thing that I can be doing to be a part of this.
Well, it is an honor, without a doubt, to be an athlete, but the honor to be a digger. We're going to be seeing stories here of former diggers like DJ Brandt and moving to become a competitor as we look at some highlights. And this is just a sampling of the progression. These are all the riders yesterday into today, just dialing in all their different lines and trying to work out just subtle changes in what they had to do. Remy here having a close call, if you will, straight, navigating perfectly, and you see Fairclough. This is going to be one of those unique features, actually utilizing the boulder in his line, and we really look forward to that. But look at Brett Reeder. I've never seen this focused of a Brett Reeder. He's definitely come to the game a little bit hungrier than normal.
It's truly something to see, that watching these guys wielding pickaxes, shovels, even as we saw in that shot earlier, taking little bits of rock and dirt out by hand to fine-tune these situations, because once the riders decide to actually set lines from top to bottom, it's going to require a level of confidence that what they've dug is going to work for them, because everyone is here with the goal not to do well, but to win.
Yeah, and you saw, obviously, the riders using the hoses, keeping stuff wetted down. I mean, conditions couldn't be better. As we saw earlier in the week, we got lucky with a lot of rain, and it has made conditions so amazing for Rampage.
Well, it's not just you and I.
Oh, no.
Fortunately for the rest of the world. We've got Cam McCall doing duty out in the field, and, of course, the one and only Tina Dixon, who has been just gathering stories for the last few days. Tina, how are you, and what would you say the tone of the situation is today, pre-game time?
Yeah, well, right now, we've seen a couple guys practice. You guys mentioned the wind, so we're just, the guys are kind of laying low until the wind sort of dies down. But we did see Cam Zink do, he's got that nice shoot. Adolf has been dropping in right over here, but I'm going to be hanging out with Berrecloth for the next hour and a half. Berreclothpedia, because you know everything about mountain biking, and he's filling me in on all the goods. But you're not riding, so what's the next journey for you?
The next journey for me is in filming and traveling around the world and exploring. Yeah, a whole lot of adventures ahead of myself.
Yeah, a lot of riding, a lot of travel. That's the good part. That's the fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Got a rider right behind us, Adolf, dropping in.
What do you think of Adolf? He's been riding down here, I think, more than anyone.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because Adolf, he's pretty much the only one riding in this wind, and given it is on the lower bottom of the course and it's not as susceptible to wind, but he's still the only one out here riding in the wind, and he's young. Yeah. He hasn't been spanked by the wind like us old guys. Like for myself, I'm never a big fan of riding in the wind, and you know what? Here he is.
He's young. I love that. What do we expect tonight? If the wind dies down, from a rider's perspective, what do they want to dial in, especially tonight? Because this is personally my favorite time to watch these guys ride.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much go time. Tonight is the night when the riders have been busting their backs, making this course, getting their lines, and tonight's the last chance they really get to dial in their lines. So the tough part is guinea pigging. Like, the one part is building all your lines, getting everything finished, and then the hardest emotionally and mentally is guinea pigging your lines, because that's where you can really get hurt. If you go too deep or you go too short, for instance, like Adolf last night, basically on this hit behind us, he went a little too short on his big drop, and he pretty much tomahawked all the way to the bottom of the hill. And miraculously, he's a 21-year-old kid, and he walked away fine. He actually had his hands up even before he stopped moving.
Yeah, right now we're looking at Zink, who's up there. Talk about that shoot, because it's Kyle Straight, Cam Zink. I feel like they always have that special shoot that they do.
Yeah, they always get sucked into some sort of shoot somewhere on the course, and those guys have been like the best of friends since they were little Groms. So for those two to team up, it's pretty much expected. They work well together.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Kyle's been here, 13 years, and Cam Zink, it wouldn't be a Rampage without Cam. It wouldn't be a Rampage without you. Right now, we're going to send it over to Cam McCall.
What up, Tina? Thank you. You guys had a nice little chat over there. I can't see what you're seeing. It sounds like Cam Zink's riding that shoot, but it's true. All the things that Sal and Pat have been saying, the excitement is so tangible right now. It's like Christmas Eve, but it's Rampage Eve. And despite the wind, we're having some riders drop in. And like Darren said, this is that situation where the riders have their to-do list. They have all the little bullet points on their to-do list, and they have to check them off right now. This is the last chance. This is crunch time before game day tomorrow. So all of you at home, you're privileged to that. We got so many cameras on this hill. And like you guys have said, this is the widest, most vast venue. It's hard to explain to you guys unless you get out here and you hike around and you go on one of these tours they're running. You can't see all the lines with your eyeballs standing here, even binoculars. It's not going to do it justice. You have to put your body right there, stand on the takeoffs, see how far these gaps really are. And there's a few things up there that still haven't been hit, so we're going to all be peeled up there and hoping that we see all those last little bullet points on their to-do list get checked off.
Cam McCall. I don't think you could put it in any better perspective. I was like, keep talking, Cam, keep talking.
Yeah, he definitely raises the bar for just kind of bottling up the energy level. And you can see the wind, unfortunately, is still a factor here. But it is definitely, it's that game before game day. A lot of these riders, there's sections, and this is the starting point. It's 150 feet taller than the previous venue. And there's something to be noted here. There's a nice little boulder, reminiscent of a downhill start. Reminds me of the downhill start, or actually not the start, but on course in Australia a couple years ago. But a very unique setup there, and not a good thing to see when you're at a Rampage event is wind like this. The good news is, for everyone tuning in, tomorrow expectations are for much calmer conditions. So hoping the forecast stays true to that. But for right now, gust of wind kind of holding some of the competitors off on some of those bigger jumps that they were hoping to get linked through, because a lot of these riders have yet to do a top to bottom pull, and it's really piecing that together and then just having the mental wherewithal to get to that safe space in your head tomorrow on game day and say, you know, I've got this.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
We are joined now by someone who can give us that downhill perspective. G. Atherton, thank you for stopping by.
Good to be here, fellas.
Yeah, good to see you.
You've competed in this event before. You know what it feels like on a day like today. What is running through the riders' minds? What was it like for you first time?
Well, today, you know, it's that anxiety. You've spent days and days building up to it. You've had that time to prep. And at this point, it's, you know, you're committed to your line. You know what you're going to do. You're committed to that drop, that jump. It's too late to change now, and if you've not hit it at this point, it's difficult, because you know you're going in tomorrow and you've got to do it tomorrow. If you could have done it a few days ago, got comfortable on it, had a bit of practice on it, that would be really nice. But you know, a lot of these guys haven't had that, and tomorrow it's game time. Well,
you found the podium twice, a third in 2004 and 2010, and you've seen the event really evolve. It's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of built features. There was a time where the focus was more on downhill and then kind of went towards slopestyle. What are you seeing, and what's your opinion on where the sport is now? Is it where it needs to be in terms of at Rampage?
I think it is, yes. I think that you know, like you say, it was quite natural, kind of downhill based to start with, and then it went in a slopestyle direction, which wasn't great for Rampage, and luckily it's gone back to that natural style now. Yeah. You know, riders are up there, it's exposed, they've got to do the work themselves. You know, there's no wooden features up there. The riders are kind of riding this raw, rugged hill, if you like, and that's what you want to see. You know, it's that natural Rampage site, and it's so unique to this area.
I mean, we talk about it, is that, you know, when fans are watching abroad, we keep saying, no, this is an event you have to get your feet and hands dirty. You have to walk the course and really see just the sheer magnitude of what you guys are building. I don't know how you guys see what you can see, but it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I think that's one of the toughest things, you know, when you're up there and you first arrive at, especially a dune site like this, there's nothing there, and you're still on the edge of this ridge, and you think, you know, maybe I could gap down there and maybe that could be a landing, but it's down to your experience as to whether that can happen. And you know, I was talking to guys this weekend, they've started building lines, they've been halfway through, and they've decided, you know, this is too big, this is too much, and they've had to reel it back a little bit. And you know, it's that experience, just really kind of walking that fine line, so when you get to event day, you know you're going to be able to hit something huge, but you've not gone too far, but at the same time it's going to get you the results you need.
I was talking to Andrea Lecondagui, and he said that this new site has given them the opportunity to build much bigger than they were in years past, because there's just more opportunity to have landings where it's not as critical. But he said it's almost like a two-edged sword, like you're saying, because you can really build as big as you want to naturally.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, I think this site allows them to to spread a little bit. You know, it's allowed them to kind of advance. You know, these riders are getting better every year. They're going bigger, they're going further, they're really pushing what they can do. And I think, you know, this site allows them to take it to that little bit of the next step, if you like, and what they need to do. But, you know, when those opportunities are there, the riders feel like they need to take them. And, you know, when they're up there building, they know they've got to go big, and they know they've got to go as big as they can.
Which is a scary thought, that these guys have to be self-governors when it comes to the venue.
So you're saying that you're not mad to be a spectator this year?
No, I mean, it's hard being here not competing, but at the same time, you know, I'm going to bed tonight without that worry. You know, I'm not going to be up there tomorrow, and a lot of these guys are going to be, they're going to have those pre-event nerves. They're going to be hitting things tomorrow they've never hit before, and that's a terrifying place to be.
Gee, thank you so much for coming by and giving us that perspective. We look forward to hanging with you tomorrow.
Cheers,
we'll
guys.
check in with Cam McCall, who is with young Adolf Silva.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Adolf is a Rampage rookie out here. Young guy, 21 years old, from Barcelona. And he has a reputation for being a guy who's not afraid of anything. And we've seen that already, especially practice last night. Adolf, walk me through what happened right as the sun set last night.
So, yeah, basically last night we were at the sunset, and we had the big drop at the bottom. Someone had to test it, and I didn't want to do it, but I don't know. We were just looking at it. Wind was good, couple run-ins, and I kind of just went for it. Guinea picked it. Yeah, cased a bit and just like launched myself off completely all the way to the bottom of the landing, and kind of like hit my head really hard and chest, and yeah, it was a big crash.
It was miraculous that you stood up so fast. You threw your arms up in the air right away. You're like, I'm okay. And it's a tough thing. We always talk about it, especially the day before Rampage, guinea pigging. Somebody has to hit that first. There's a handful of other riders who are not Rampage rookies who are also hitting that. How does that decision-making process go? Did you just step up to the plate and hit it, or did you guys draw straws?
Actually, we were just all of us just checking the speed, and I kind of was like, whatever, I'll just go, because I just wanted to get it out of the way. We have two big drops we have to hit, and I wanted to leave one of them done for yesterday. And yeah, I thought the speed was fine. It kind of looked good from where we were, and well, kind of went for it and gave it a little case. But yeah, it's fine. Sometimes it happens.
What's it like coming out here as a rider? You've been out here as a digger before, and you're kind of following the direction from your rider, and it's their eyes discovering the lines. What's it like trying to make sure your eyes aren't bigger than your stomach out here when you're choosing a line for yourself?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of things choosing the line. Luckily, I have my diggers with me, and they kind of help me a lot, seeing things that I would not really see over there, and they kind of know what I wanted. They know I wanted big drops and big stops. So yeah, they helped me out, and I was super happy how everything came out.
Yeah, it definitely came together. You have a really heavy-hitting line set up for tomorrow, but you've been riding your bike more than anybody. Even when it's windy, this guy's riding his bike. And he's made of steel, and he gets better every time he hops on that bike. So it's great to have you out here. I'm stoked that you've made it from the wild card invite list all the way here, and I can't wait to watch you ride tomorrow, Adolf. Knuckles right here on this horrible little sling thing.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam, and it's cool to hear from Silva and get that, like, you can see he's got that nervous young energy.
21 years old, but I'm telling you, he's coming in with like a hunger, like the grizzled veteran. It's good to see. Yeah.
All right, we'll go back to Tina. What's going on with you and Berrecloth?
We're hanging out down here, still looking up at the mountain, waiting for some riders to drop. But I was talking to Berrecloth earlier about how many rampages he's been to since 2002. And the digging has come so far in so many different ways. We've been watching these diggers down here, but what's been the biggest difference?
You know, the biggest difference for us is the addition of water. You know, like the fact that we can get water up to the top of this course, it totally just changes the whole game on what we can create. Because back in the day when we first started riding this type of terrain, it was scratching a little line, and maybe if you threw a little bit of dirt, it just turned into a bunch of pile of dust. So if you tried to land on that, you would just flip right over the bars, which, you know, if you go back to some of the archive footage, a lot of guys were literally landing in soft dirt and flipping over the bars. And now, as you can see, they put water and mix it into the dirt, and, you know, at times it can be as hard as concrete with the additional water, which is insane.
Yeah. You know, I come up to this mountain, and it already, by the time I get here, it already looks like perfectly sculpted and stuff, but doesn't begin that way. I mean, how as a rider do you process, okay, I'm going to start digging here, and then this is what it's going to look like?
Yeah, that's a talent in itself as well. You know, like each athlete, they come up to this venue, and it's pretty much a brand new venue, and it's a blank canvas is the way I like to explain it. Said that many times before, but at the end of the day, you know, each rider comes up and they all get drawn into a certain area where their strengths are in terms of the riding. Like some guys really love like big blind drops, and some guys like drops with lips so they can do other tricks. And some guys like canyon gaps where you got like Brendan, you know, it's kind of the joke where he always gets sucked into a big canyon gap, you know? So like each rider has their strengths. So they naturally gravitate to wherever the mountain kind of talks to them in a sense. So they end up getting drawn there, and then they start digging in. And this year was pretty insane because, you know, like when I showed up 3 days into the digging, and I was blown away at how much had been done already. And a lot of that was due to the fact that a lot of these athletes teamed up, and, you know, their whole team. So you had like a landing, for instance, where you would have 5 different riders and their teams going at this. So you have like, if I can do the math, like 15 people working on a landing.
And that was the case with this landing, because this is a big drop. That you've got Sorge, Ethan Nels, Adolf, and then Tom also dropping this.
Yeah, so like perfect example right in behind us. You got 4 athletes that are hitting this, and, you know, they all teamed up together and got her done quick.
Yeah. All right, well, I know that you've been out there digging. We're going to take a look at what you've been up to.
All right, folks, name's Darren Berrecloth here. Here we are in Virgin, Utah, the Red Bull Rampage. Yeah, I'm not riding. First year that I've officially retired from competing. Definitely weird, but nonetheless, I'm here to show you guys what's been going on up on this hill, and go say what up to the homies. Let's go check out what Brendog's been up to. First off, coming in with a pretty marginal run, pretty rough and rowdy while turning. Not a lot of freaking space to screw up. Chicane through some boulders off pretty much a North Shore bridge wide lip to an uphill landing.
We needed a way to come over because we like to traverse and use the whole mountain.
Yeah.
So we needed a way over, and what better way to get from that ridge to this ridge?
And to jump it.
Yeah, fly.
Why fucking pedal around it?
It's the most efficient way. Absolutely. So yeah, that's what we did.
Beauty.
But yeah, and it's not as not as gnarly as previous years, because the running's pretty nice, and you can see it.
It makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Not like the last one? Yeah, what do you think of this venue?
I like this one. It's I know it's like 150 feet or 200 feet taller.
Not much, but it
which
seems
isn't
like a lot.
much. Well, which is a lot when we have to build in the same amount of days with the
True.
same amount of diggers.
A fresh zone.
This is the first year where I've had like my own zone, and no one's been like
messing with you,
looking in the same area. So I don't know. I'd say that this one's probably my favorite yet, and I'm definitely pushing myself harder than I have before, which is cool.
Hey there.
Hey, what up? Awesome. So what do you got up top here?
We start at the very top and go riders right out of the gate.
Yeah, I heard you kind of did your own thing.
Yeah, through boulder field of many bathtub-sized rocks. Starts up with some flow and a good jump, and then we drop in and step down off the ridge and come into this double drop here, which Bass and I are teaming up on, and so we'll see if it pays to go on your own or stick with the herd.
What do you think of this venue versus the last couple of years?
I like it. I think the venue's awesome. Like, taller, steeper. I mean, for a first-year venue, it's obviously tough with that much more elevation. Just getting a line top to bottom put in.
That much more work.
So you got to kind of pick your features, and then this year just kind of get between them as best you can. And it's sweet. It's not going to be a slope style on the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it kind of flattens out, and there's not so much jumpy, rolly terrain at the bottom, which
People
I think
focusing on their tricks up top.
I think for this event, it suits the event more, which is awesome.
Okay, so I want to just zoom in right now to the action behind me, if you can see that. You see a digger. He's just, Berrecloth, what is he doing? Just take us through.
Well, first off, he is strapped in on a rope and a harness, and he's picking away at this line, where this is actually Jordy's line, that he's going to pick in, and he's going to make it so that he can take off right at that level where his feet are. And then if you can kind of see, pan the camera down to his landing, which isn't finished yet, this is the scary part about tonight and these athletes. Since it's a brand new zone, like a lot of these athletes aren't done. Like this is not even the very bottom of Jordy's line, and he's still, a couple hours away, and he's really got to ride this tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for an athlete to go to sleep tonight without riding their line, like hitting everything and having to guinea pig something for breakfast, that is not fun. Like, I know I've done it many times before where I've been digging right up to like my line and not being able to practice anything. And like the night before, kiss sleep goodbye. It's pretty insane.
Is there a section though, like on the bigger features, do they hit everything, or is there a line or a feature that they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna save that for the big day?
You know what, traditionally, we definitely would save the odd thing here and there, but the level is so insane nowadays that these riders are taking the biggest jumps and drops on the entire course, and they're planning on tricking them. So if they're going to be planning on tricking them, they can't just save it for the final day. They need to hit it a few times. So like gone are the days of having something so big and gnarly that they're going to wait till the finals to hit it. It's, okay, I'm going to wait till the finals to trick it. It's completely different now. The level has gone up so much in the last couple of years. It's insane.
Oh man. Okay, so since you've been up on the mountain, favorite lines. Can you take us through some of your favorite lines?
That's a tough one, just because this year, there's so many athletes that have really cool stuff. Some of the things that stick out for me would be Brendog's Boulder Rock. He's dubbed Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, obviously for good reasons. So I love that thing just because that's kind of my style of features, super weird and unique. And then, with Brendan as well, like he's got his roll down, which is to the right of Jordy's line here. I watched him session that this morning, and that was super nasty. Also Jordy, the one we just talked about, that lower drop is insane, and he's one of the only athletes that has really veered off on his own to the hard right out of the gates. So that line's super sick. And then you got like Adolf, Zink and Storch and Kyle on the other side. And then, man, it's just I'm getting more and more in my mind, and it's pretty insane at how many athletes have really good stuff in their lines. It's kind of mind-boggling. And to be honest, I think the judges are going to have their hands full tomorrow. It's going to be insane. There's going to be so much controversy. It's going to be nuts.
Well, and I feel like, too, the riders, sometimes they're like, I just wanted to get down. But this year, it feels like, no, I want to win. Like, I was talking to Ethan Nell earlier, and he's like, no, I want to win this time.
Yeah, we've created the Super Bowl in mountain biking, and gone are the days where we're out of the bar every night crushing beers with our buddies like the night before the contest. These guys they're motivated, they're serious, they come here to win, and it's such a big event for a mountain biker to sit on top of top 5 in my opinion is a huge feat. So these guys are coming in here swinging heavy, and they want to win. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, and so these guys are finishing up. You can still see them behind. I mean, all that dirt flying down. But he is harnessed in, as Berrecloth said. But still, that just amazes me to see some of these guys hanging off the mountain here.
Yeah, it's crazy because, it's sometimes scarier to stand on there and work than it is to actually ride it. Because if you fall, like without a bike, you're gonna get really hurt. But if you got a bike, you're gonna roll down it pretty easy. Is the hope.
So again, you're looking at, that's Jordy Lund's line. That's the end of his line, and he's still kind of putting the final touches on it. Sal, I'm going to send it back to you right now.
Can we get back to Fairclough? I know the claw is the law, but yeah, if you're on a bike, you just roll down real easy.
If you fall without a bike, you're really hurt.
Yeah.
But you got a bike, you're just gonna roll down. Maybe.
Things overheard at Rampage.
Yeah, said no regular human ever. This Rampage revealed. This is perspective that it's going to give us such a different deal going into tomorrow. Lucky that you guys tuned in. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back with Rampage Revealed.
All right, starting off the top. This roll-in was one of the gnarliest roll-ins I've ever done in my life. And this first drop was about 14 feet, and I skidded front wheel off the end of it pretty much every time. into a bunch of head-high drops and then a bigger one into a soft landing at the end right before you go for a 60-foot jump. It was super dark in the morning. There was some slough and I ended up kind of sliding into it and clipping my bar on the wall actually. And cruising down the ridge, nose press off of this little cliff. One of my favorite parts of the line actually, super tech, kind of skidding off that drop into a really, really exposed right-hand step-down hip and into a canyon gap. And then off of the biggest flat flip pretty much anyone's ever done. And cruising down into another step-down flip, trying to maintain speed, and then tried to crack a shoulder buzz right here and did decent. Not my best trick, but did all right. And then into the end and did a 450 and kind of spun off the front wheel there, but no big deal. And then the finish crawl, after 9 days of digging and landing a run like that, and then seeing your family at the bottom makes you want to tear up.
See how narrow these lines are and how you really don't want to veer off these lines. Oh, he got more rotation in. A double backflip, can he land it?
Welcome back to Rampage Revealed. Just one day before the 2018 Red Bull Rampage, and you see finishing touches by the unsung heroes. Well, actually not unsung. They're acknowledged, full stop, as the heroes of Rampage, the diggers. Many of them have been out here since about the 16th of October in tents and RVs, each day shaping this mountain that when they came here, had no lines dug into it, and now full realization for tomorrow's competition. And just, you know, Pat, getting a chance to go up and talk with some of these guys, the passion for being out here all day.
Oh, these without a doubt, these are the Da Vinci's of dirt, and it's such an honor to meet the diggers and to see that their stories where they start as a digger and then they become a competitor. But we are in the presence of royalty.
Royalty.
Yeah.
Oh, greatness.
The only three-time winner in Rampage history, Mr. Kurt Sorge. Welcome, sir.
The pride of Nelson.
Yeah.
One of my favorite towns in British Columbia. You won this thing 3 times, including last year. But since we've been talking about the diggers, how do you pick who's going to jump in the RV with you, and you're going to trust it with the shovels and the pickaxes to be your eyes and guides with their hands?
Yeah, totally. It's either you pick them or they pick you. Like, there's guys chomping at the bit, and it's cool because you have not only some of the best riders in the world here, but some of the best diggers. So all these guys are so experienced and all really good riders. So yeah, they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Is there like digger stealing that happens, poaching or incentivizing or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I'm sure, like, yeah, if someone came up, someone would snag up a good digger for sure. I know I hold on to mine pretty tight.
I had to ask too about, we've been watching you kind of just dial in your line all week. what parts have been the most difficult, and have you been able to link everything in sections, top to bottom? Where are you at in terms of the entire line, top to bottom?
Yeah, there were some difficulties. The biggest was running into rocks everywhere. This venue, a lot of landings that looked like a shelf would be able to be picked out of there like nothing. Turns out to be solid rock and was going nowhere. So with a couple days of straight picking to try and get it good enough that it'll work. So yeah, that was pretty tough.
What about general consensus when you showed up on site? What's the vibe you're getting from all the rest of the riders and yourself in terms of the venue? Are you loving it? Do you think it's a great fit?
It is cool. It's different, not so straightforward. Got to get a lot more creative to actually find a line that flows and links up, and it's a lot steeper. So if you do have any big errors, you're going to be landing with even extra speed, and then you have to be able to control your speed into the next feature, which can be pretty difficult if you're really hauling.
We've had some fans that have been dropping in questions already. We're not even in competition yet, but with this new venue, lots of folks tuned in for this Rampage Revealed. One of the questions, what's one of the most unique runs this year that you've seen with this sort of new playing field?
Yeah, the tough part with Rampage is you're so focused and busy digging on your line that you don't get to see everyone else's. So, but I've been peeking around a little bit, and I think Fairclough and Geordie Lund have some really cool, unique lines going on over there. Like most of the people are over to riders left, and they're off on the riders right with Bass Van Steenbergen as well. So I'm really excited to see their runs.
But Fairclough too, you bring up a good example. It seems like their dig crew, they're laughing most of the time. They're just, I mean, they have to guinea pig this stuff, and we were watching them yesterday, and I'm like, how are they so relaxed? You know,
I don't know, those English blokes. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, it's such a good setup. And you mentioned Geordie as well. I mean, there's some exciting stuff in the canyon there, and they really forced to think outside the box. I mean, I can't even imagine how they saw that some of those gaps were makeable or doable in terms of building out, like literally scooping out rocks and filling in dirt on the side of the rock.
He was talking about bathtub-sized rocks.
Yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Well, even bigger. There's massive boulders like the size of a small car or a house. I mean, like there's some huge rocks up here that we haven't really come across in other venues. So that throws, like Fairclough's riding off one of them. So that's pretty cool.
No, you love to see the natural terrain. Can I ask you where? I mean, I made a joke about it when I ran into you on the course yesterday. But you know, you got the bullseye obviously on your back. But is it sitting in your mind a little bit? Where's your headspace right now?
Like I said, I think before, I just come to do a run that I'm happy with and that I want to do. I'm not really looking at what other guys are doing. Like stoked to see their runs, but really, I just am out here to do my run, and if it lands me on the podium, then I'll be stoked.
Darren, Berrecloth was talking earlier about that night before and how in years past it used to be full send at the bar before the full send here at the event. Times obviously have changed. What's your process like the night before? Are you able to sleep, a sound sleep?
Well, hopefully, yeah. I know years past I haven't had good sleeps, but I don't know. We've been working so hard, like 12-hour days. Like the gate opens at 7:30. We're chomping at the bit to get up here, and then they kick us off the mountain at 7:30, and it's dark, and we're racing back to the hotel to clean up and get some food before going to bed. But yeah, so I think that helps. Just exhausting yourself.
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
Just plain exhaustion.
Yeah.
We had G. Atherton on, and we were asking him in terms of the evolution, and obviously there has been a lot of change, of venue and focus with Red Bull Rampage throughout the years. What's your take? Do you like the direction that it's going, that it's kind of getting back to the roots and the natural terrain versus built-out features?
Yeah, I definitely like the more raw mountain over the built features. And it's venue to venue dependent. Some are going to take more building, and then some guys are just going to want to go for more ambitious builds and jumps. Yeah. So it's kind of whatever direction you want to take it.
Can you foreshadow a little bit? What's your, in talking about ambitious, on your line, what's the one thing that you're kind of trying to have to put the most focus and kind of steely nerves onto?
Yeah, we got a couple big drops up there that we've built, and yeah, so just being able to link those with our full line was just, yeah, you're gonna have to be pretty on it.
How does the energy change from just having the diggers out here for the last 8 days, and then more and more crew arriving, to when the fans, you know, make the hike in tomorrow, and then there's that energy and they're calling out your name. What does that do to this place?
Yeah, totally. It goes from 4 days with mainly just the diggers and riders on course, and then everyone starts flowing in, and then you're practicing too. So now not only do you have to guinea pig all your stuff, but now you got way more eyes on you. But it hypes you up for sure, and the scenery out here and the amazing sunsets, you're getting insane shots. It's just everything's motivating.
It's very romantic.
Yeah,
in the evenings. It is. I love that you mentioned the guinea pig factor, because I think there's so many viewers that are watching worldwide and they think it's such a huck and hope approach, but they need to understand how meticulous you guys are, not just on the building, but then really figuring out how you're going to link these things. And you know, I've talked to a lot of the riders too, and just the aspect of brake control on a hill like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's way steeper of a hill, so you're basically breaking into everything.
It's just figuring out that perfect
Super fun.
speed.
Right,
I mean, you're thinking it's
forgot
all
the
thought
question.
through. It's just in terms of how much thought goes into a run. It's not that you're just going out there and go, you know, I think I got this. And
Yeah, totally.
You've tried everything. You've really dialed it in. There's a science, so to speak, to it.
Yeah, and this year we had a full scope day without any building, so we had a little bit more time to pick and choose our line, but it's pretty tough to look at it raw, and then once you start building, it changes a lot. But usually it changes for the better and looks better, but then, yeah, there's some spots where you're heavy braking into the next jump and like still going too fast, and it's a big jump after, you know, so.
Well, we are looking forward to you tomorrow. I posted a clip of Bizet's run from last year, and all the big wave surfers, all the heaviest skateboarders that follow my feed, they were all just like, never in a million years. Those dudes are the heaviest guys on the planet.
That's the funniest thing, because I love watching moto, big wave surfing, all that.
Yeah.
Like, get so amped on all those other sports. So it's pretty cool to get that kind of respect for pedal cycle.
Those guys will all be watching tomorrow for sure. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
We wish you the best, man.
Yeah,
Great to see you.
Cheers.
We'll check in. What's up, Tina?
Yeah, well, I was looking for volunteers from the diggers. Hey, does anybody want to take a break and come talk to us? We'll be nice. Alex, we dragged you off the mountain. Getting a little break here. Alex has been digging. I don't even know how long. You didn't even know how long when I asked you.
I think I've been digging for like 8 days now. We started last Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not too sure. It's all a blur. It's just been one big blur, just early mornings, late nights, little sleep, but we've been getting it done.
As an athlete, I know that they kind of go home and they dream up their line at night. For a digger, though, are you kind of doing the same thing? You're like, I think we can do this over here. We can do this over here.
Yeah, definitely. As a digger, like we definitely map out and try and manage our build, and we want to know what we're going to do during the day, and we plan it all out and we stick to our plan and, you know, work our way down the hill and make sure that we're going to have everything done on the last day. And we leave the easy stuff for the end and get all the big stuff out of the way first. And this year we teamed up with quite a few people, so that helped getting a top to bottom line at a brand new venue that was taller than most. And yeah, it was a huge help teaming up with people.
Yeah, so you're digging for T-Mac, Tyler McCall, and tell me how stressful is it watching your homie, which you've been friends with since how many years have you been friends with them?
Since we were like 11, and we're both 29 now, so over half our lives now.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while that you guys have been best buds, and tell me how stressful it is when you're watching your buddy guinea pig some of this stuff, like this morning.
Yeah, this morning was super stressful. I mean, we wanted to do it last night and didn't get done, and we talked about it all night, and this morning we worked on the takeoff, and I always help him with speed checks. Somehow he trusts me, and he does a bunch of run-ups. We make sure that he's not going to go too far. I tell him how far he wants to go down, and it usually works out good, and it's always super stressful. But I always have like 100% confidence in him. He puts in the time on and off the bike. His bike's super dialed this year, so.
Yeah, like that's the other part of it, is having, being an athlete and having your dig team is not only just the people helping you build, but also helping you line up things and have the right amount of speed. And obviously, Tyler and myself, we've almost been teammates. So in essence, over the last couple of years, you and I have been teammates on dig crew, and it's always been great, feeding off each other and having you guys. I know there's been several times that I've been up there with you yourself and like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? It's like a little slower, a little lighter, and it's like, okay, I got it, And it's a big addition for us athletes because, I can't stress it enough. Guinea pigging is one of the hardest things about this event because it is the primary way that we are going to get hurt as athletes.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have the right speed for something, everything's going to go wrong. And as a rider, you can kind of feel it, but it's nice having somebody that you trust to tell you how fast to go and, not let the person case or go too far because it could, completely end you. And
absolutely. It's good to have you out here.
I'm going to take this back. Real quick, though, I want to know about the speeds, because you were saying that you helped Tyler with the speeds. And I mean, that, like you guys were saying, the guinea pigging, how do you calculate, okay, he's got to go this fast, he's got to go this slow? Is that just from experience, or do you guys get out there and like really, really just look at it super close and in details?
Yeah, it definitely comes from experience. I've built a lot of big drops with Tyler and for him, and I've been riding with them forever. I've ridden a bunch. It's just something you kind of learn from over time. And I honestly stand on a side angle and move my hands and picture how fast you'd go and how far you're gonna fall. And I do that a whole bunch while he's doing run-ups, and you can kind of see it and you kind of know how far they're gonna go, and you just gotta trust yourself. And yeah, it's just a big trust thing.
Okay, now as a digger, I know that you guys celebrate just as much, if not more, if the rider wins. Tell us about that. I mean, when you see him ride and you see him land it, for you though, that's got to be like, all right, he did it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I want to see every rider here make it down the hill. I've known almost everybody that's riding this event for a really long time, and you always want to see everybody make it to the bottom, but especially the dude you're digging for. You put in everything you have all week to get the line done, and when they get to the bottom, it's like the best feeling ever. It's definitely like an addiction. Like, you just want to come back every year to see how far you can push it, and yeah, it's awesome.
So Alex, been digging 7, 8, 9 days, whatever, we're on it. Tomorrow, the final, you're almost done. I'm gonna let you get back to work. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Alex, Tyler, Max, Digger, Sal, we're gonna send it back to you.
Thank you, Tina. What's crazy is you think about in golf, right, Pat?
Yeah.
Like, you got a caddy, and he's
Yeah.
looking down the line, and he's like, I think if you use your 7 iron, you're going to go 160, 170 yards. I could put my money on it.
No.
The worst thing that's going to happen is the ball goes awry.
A shank.
If it's the
a
wrong
shank would be the worst.
The shank, a wrong club, maybe someone gets hit by a ball.
Your caddy actually has to be a test pilot. All these diggers out there, and it's like he mentioned, it's such a tight community. They're all riders in their own right. A lot of them end up becoming competitors down a couple years after being diggers and learning the ropes of Rampage. But yeah, the stakes don't get higher. Caddies out there, you should be rejoicing that you don't have to do what these guys do.
And that unity, like you heard him saying, I want to see all these riders finish on their feet, but seeing that person that you basically said, I put my hands on this, and I believe that if you do this, you're going to be able to complete this even more special. We're going to check in right now with one of the Van Steenbergen brothers, Tom, who is with Cam.
Thanks, guys. So, Tom, Tina and Darren were talking to A-Rev down there about just the speed check scenario for a guinea pig for a first hit. And Pat and Sal had a really good analogy. Your builder or your teammate, they're kind of like your caddy in golf, where they know your style, they suggest the right club. Your friends and your diggers, they suggest the right speed. We were talking to Adolf earlier about his guinea pig last night that didn't go so well. You're actually riding that same hit. Did you guys put your heads together on that? Did you know he was going to be going way too slow?
No, it looks way better from like where we were standing on the lip. It looks like a way smaller gap than it actually is. So we had people from the side. I hit it this morning, and I was talking to your brother, Tyler, and he was giving me speed, and a bunch of other guys telling me the right speed to go, because you can't really tell from up there because the gap doesn't look that big, but from the side it looks way bigger. So you definitely need help.
And for people at home who've never stood on a 30-foot vertical drop with the intention of riding their bike off of it, try to explain to them what it's like standing right over it, peering off, but then about 25 feet back where you can see nothing. All you see is the valley floor below. That's where it gets really scary, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know about 20, but even 5 feet back, you can't see anything. You can't see the landing at all. So it's really scary. And the first hits, the guinea pigging is the hardest part for sure. Now we know the speed and hopefully hit it again and then get it tomorrow.
You look really good on your bike, as usual. You hit that this morning, so that's got to be a big monkey off your back. How many pieces of your line are still on the to-do list?
That was kind of what I was stressing about the most after seeing Adolf hit it with what I thought was good speed and then just decking it. But I think we're looking pretty good for tomorrow. We just are tweaking some stuff at the bottom, and we still have to tee up one hit at the top.
They were talking earlier about, Darren specifically was talking about how he's been in this scenario in this competition before, where you go to sleep with something on your mind that you haven't hit yet, knowing that you have to wait for your run to do it. What does that feel like? And is your goal right now to make sure you don't end up in that situation?
That's for sure the goal. Yeah, that would be terrible. That'd be super stressful. So that's why I'm kind of thinking of changing my line a little bit at the top, so that, because it's super windy right now, we're not going to hit. That drop is actually bigger than this one. Tip to tip, it's like 69, so it's big, and you don't want to hit anything like that in the wind.
When it gets to that range, you don't even need to talk about feet anymore. It's just, you just measure it in letters. It's just B-I-G, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks, Tom. I'm super excited to watch you ride tomorrow. Your line's looking great. And I know with everything you have in your bag, once you sprinkle that onto your line, it's got winning potential, so go get them, buddy.
Thanks, Cam.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam, and we welcome in the People's Choice from last year, Antoine Bizet.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Ça va bien?
Ça va bien.
All right. Yeah.
I posted the clip of your double back from 2016 on the Instagram yesterday, and it was just so cool listening to people watching that perspective from your GoPro cam.
Oh, nice.
What a special run.
That was super fun to do too.
I bet.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, maybe you could help us just kind of, I'm sure this brings back some good memories. You can take us through this run.
For sure. So it's very intense for me. Like, that was my comeback after breaking my arm. So new venue, I had to see the whole thing, and super fast. Like, gnarly course. We were over huge cliffs on that side, and it was super intense for me. But the banger of my run was definitely this double flip we're talking about, and super glad I landed it that year. It's really nerve-wracking, the Rampage event, especially with what happened to me with injury last year. And I was super happy to nail look at this flip. I overshot, it was like, whatever, let's go crazy.
And was able to get it together for the next drop.
Super intense, yeah. That was a super fast section of my line too. Super happy about that. And yeah, just loving the riding there.
And then,
this is redemption right there.
Well, and knowing that double was just looming at the end of your run, everyone always asks the question, is that what's in your mind the whole time, or is it just getting through the next feature?
Oh no, for sure, it's in your mind, yeah. I was like, wow, that's a scary run to go, and you have it in your mind, but at the same time, the whole line is gnarly, so you have to, of course you wanna focus on that, but you're going on the gnarliest terrain of your life, so you have so much to think. It's super intense, you know?
You mentioned exposure, and there's a different type of exposure. What's your take on the new venue? Obviously, I can tell that you're salivating a little bit, that you want to get out there and ride some of these features. But what do you make of the new venue?
It's crazy. Yeah. I see it from the outside for one of the first time this year, and it's like super steep, many big drops everywhere, and the line. No, it's really super exciting. It's the next level of free riding, and there's some. We're gonna see the craziest riding and the highest level of riding tomorrow. I'm excited for that, and I hope one day I'll get the chance to ride there.
Do you have any predictions for tomorrow?
you know, the guys are all super high level, and you never know how things can go. I think everyone has a chance to win. Like, there's always surprises, and then I don't know. I can't give names. There is the big names that have been here forever, but also some new rookies this year that are coming, the new guys, and I can't even really give a name because like everyone can make the show here.
There's a stable of dark horses for sure. But okay, maybe not name names, but what about some of the features you've seen that people have built where you're like, what the? Is there something that just leaves you slack-jawed that you're like on a creative level or on just it's so massive you can't believe they somehow dug in and found the stones to do it?
Yeah, so I didn't have a chance to see the whole course, but I would say Brendan Fairclough's rock drop is super like we're not used to seeing that, and that's huge. And there is also these guys Zink, Straight, and Godziek, and who else? I think there is a fourth rider that are teaming with them to oh, maybe not. But anyway, they have a huge setup at the bottom with huge drop, and I'm sure we have gnarly senders there that's gonna send there. Yeah. And also, I think in the middle I saw the biggest drop on the course from what I heard up there. That was one of Godziek's drop. And yeah, I'm excited to see Simon send it there. And yeah, but I know everyone, I just saw a glimpse of the riding, and everyone has gnarly lines. I saw some top steep sections that are not especially the biggest thing, but are still super technical, and it's some crazy riding, so excited to see all of that.
It's so subtly complex. That's the thing we're trying to wrap our head around.
When you think about where the level of riding was maybe 2 or even 3 years ago compared to now, what are the things that have changed that become like, oh, that was crazy, but now that's normal, and it's only going to go up from there?
Yeah, you don't see anymore. Like, there was some lines, like you can, there was some lines that you were, I'm gonna start with that one, you know what I mean? There are some lines you are like, okay, this is not as gnarly, and while this year everything is gnarly. Everything I see, maybe because I'm not on my bike, I'm just the watching guy this year, and everything is crazy, so I'm super excited to see all of that. And it's definitely next level, because there is not like, I didn't feel like I'm gonna start with that line if I get to ride there. It's like everything is huge, you know?
Yeah.
How about that? You found the podium twice in second place, but last year you grabbed a very coveted award, the People's Choice Award, and we should remind everyone that they are going to be doing that this year, tomorrow as well. What did getting the People's Choice Award, how is that different than making the podium for you?
Wow, it's how to say, I didn't expect that at all. I'm kind of a competitor. I was gymnast before, and I come to be on the podium, you know. But at the same time, everyone have their opinion on the riding you have, and I had a lot of good feedbacks from the riding, and it feels super good to have this crowd award. I don't know how to say it. Just it feels super good, and it was so unexpected, and I have so much support, and everyone has its different style of riding. You know, there is some steep terrain rider, there is some freestyle riders, and it made me believe in myself and like ride your own way, ride the way you love it. That's why it made me feel like, but definitely, and it opens your mind on how everyone has its own style. There is the pure free riders, maybe the downhill guys, the big mountain guys, the slopestyle guys, and we are a big mixed, and we ride all together, and just be yourself and love what you do. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
It is a privilege to get an opportunity to compete in Rampage. It's not something that someone can just be like, oh, I'm going to apply. What does it mean, and what does it do for you as a rider moving forward to get to compete in this event?
Seriously, this year I'm on the side, so I see everything from the outside, and I'm realizing I have a completely other point of view, and it's wow, I'm realizing how it's the highest level, how the guys are, how gnarly it is, and how lucky I am to be part of it. And I just, I'm like, okay, I'm taking a break, but let's, I have to be back next year to be here again. You know, this guy, that's the highest level of biking in the world. So I'm super excited. I realized the luck we have to be part of it, and it's a dream. It's a kid's dream. You know, I was watching this 10 years ago when I was still in France, building my little jumps in my neighborhood, and now I'm here and loving it. You know.
Man, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming by. Maybe stop by again and see us tomorrow during the event. We're going to be back with plenty more here from Rampage Revealed 2018.
All right, so we're sitting at the top of the ridge. Wind's good. Super scared up there. Didn't even turn my GoPro on. I was that scared. Coming into this big old lily pad from the very top. Lots of exposure. Technicality is high. Trying to keep it fluid, speed up. Yeah, coming off this knoblin here, we got the old big flat spin step down, which I spun, which I didn't even know right here that I was going to spin it, so I was that scared. Pulled for that, my tire actually hit my butt, which was horrifying, but pulled that, was extremely stoked. Popped this little flip here on the ridge. Coming in, so we got the flat spin, and I'm thinking about the old lily pad coming up here, so I figured I'd give her a suey on that. Got that, landed clean, so stoked. Couple speed jumps through here, keeping it fun and fluid. Come into this style shark fin step down. Into the last jump, we got pumping as fast as I can go because I cased in practice a bunch. Huge flat spin to flat, landed, fist pump, insanely stoked. Coming into the finish crowd, can't believe that we got this run down, so stoked. All the boys here, you're about to see that, super stoked.
Fifth year was the year that Seminuk won. They won a fluidity and tricks and big airs.
Put your hands together for me, this event's like just the creativity. Like I get to come in and like use a lot of skills I have and I work on all year.
Brandon Seminuk is your 2016 Red Bull Rampage champion. A day, once again, of history here in Utah.
Backflip, one-footed can-can. Flat spin 450, landing perfect.
Seminuk looking to repeat on that victory from 2008.
Being a World Cup rider at Rampage only helps. Being comfortable with the super steep and exposed stuff, it's all like something we do every single weekend, week out.
I think he's the most naturally talented mountain biker ever. The youngest competitor ever, the youngest person to win it, and then the first person to win it twice, almost 10 years later. That's a pretty heavy career.
That's mountain bike history right there.
Trick that everyone was talking about in practice. A 90.33 Cam Zink catapults.
won the event. Flipping onto the ridge. There we go, that big step down, setting it deep again, but holding on. He's got a kicker, does he flip it? He does! Oh, sends it so deep, but holds on!
A Sorge sender fender, all hugs from Cam Zink.
So I'm not sure what he has planned, how he's gonna find some extra points. Oh! Flat spinning up at the top. He did have some secrets. Oh, suicide no-hander on his lily pad.
And with that, Ethan Nell, the rookie, moves into third place.
And even more, doing a suicide no-hander on this double drop. It's a lily pad feature, meaning he's like a frog. As soon as he lands, it adds an extra degree of technicality because you have to put those tires down.
So this is the story.
Listen to
they
the
will
crowd,
be they will be talking about for years.
There is so much history here at Rampage, as you see just a beautiful shot of Virgin Utah, where we could sit here and say nothing and it would be just as entertaining almost.
This is the golden hour, and these are the days you dream about, that you wish everyone from around the world, all the fans, could be here. The lighting is perfect.
Yeah.
The wind is dropping down. The guys are finishing. They're in that test pilot mode, trying to get those last adjustments. It's pins and needles right now. It's so electric, the atmosphere, and yet it's so beautiful. So you're slack-jawed on 2 accounts.
Yeah, it's therapeutic in that you look around and you're like, I'm so happy to be alive. And then you watch what's happening here and you're like, that's what life is really all about. Like pushing through fear and taking ability to the next level on a terrain like this. It is incredible. What we saw in that piece is that every rider here has a story, right? They have history and there's where do they want to go next. Tina is with Brendan Fairclough, who's finished in this event every time he's competed in the 8th spot. He probably wants to move up, Tina.
Yes, well, he is down here practicing. One of the few riders, it's the wind's not as strong down here, and we just saw him dialing in a line here. That looked really good from our perspective. How was it from your perspective?
Yeah, it's good. You know, up the top of the hill, so exposed, and right now obviously the dream was to get Dwayne ticked off for the rock. Wanted to go jump off that this afternoon, but like you said, the wind is horrible up there right now, so decided to come lower down this little gully. We've got this horrible like chute, I guess you could call, like pillowcase chute down here, so decided to at least do something on my bike and get something out of the way.
Yeah, and you mentioned Dwayne, which is the rock, and we've been talking about that all day. That thing, I actually stood on that earlier, but I didn't mess up. Don't worry, I climbed up on the side. I didn't mess up any of the dirt or your run-in.
I don't think you can mess up the rock. He's pretty hardcore.
What made you go there? Because when you look at the mountain, it's just this giant boulder on the side of the mountain, and I mean, who thinks to go over there?
Well, you know what, like when we first came, it was obviously look up at a fresh hill and it's super daunting. We didn't really know what to do. So the tactic was find defined features and then build a way in and out of them, you know. And you look up and that's by far the biggest rock on the hill. So we thought it'd be pretty cool to jump off of it. So when we reached it, we got up there and we looked over the edge and we're like, oh no, it is possible. So we wrote our names on the side so no one else could steal it. And built a line in and out of it, really. And then I wanted to have this really steep, crazy chute at the bottom. And I didn't really want a canyon gap in there again. I've done them every year. And they're not very nice. They're horrible and long and scary. But we managed to find one.
You did, and everyone's calling it the redemption gap.
Yeah, you know, 2 years ago I was here and didn't have so much luck. I went 49 feet on a 50-foot jump and dislocated both my thumbs. So they're still pretty crooked right now, but it's like a hook now. I can hook it on. But yeah, we got that ticked off this morning. That all went well, so that's really good. Like I said, we've got everything ticked off apart from Dwayne.
Yeah. So Dwayne the Rock, is the goal to get it done tonight, to tick that off the box tonight?
Absolutely. You know, it's windy now. It's really, really gusty. But I think once the sun goes down a bit, we can go up there and plop off of it. I really don't want to have to do that for breakfast, you know. I don't want to you want to try to cover all angles and try to get it ticked off tonight, you know. But I think, you know, I'm not the only guy in this situation. There's other people out there that probably haven't done stuff and weren't preempting the win, such big wins. So we'll lay low, don't panic, not panic stations just yet. And if worse comes to worse, tomorrow looks great, and we'll get her done for breakfast.
Who knows? Could be doing that for breakfast tomorrow. Yeah, as he mentioned, the wind does look really good for tomorrow. Right now, we're still waiting for it to die down, but Brendan Fairclough is down here practicing and getting his line dialed in and hopefully doing the rock later on tonight.
Yep, we'll get it done.
All right, Sal.
Thank you, Tina. Pat, there's something about hearing all of this described in the English language.
It doesn't sound daunting, and it's so funny. Like, you know, like moss to the porch light, Fairclough is just attracted to the canyon gaps and things like the rock. So we thank him for that. That's a good thing.
And we welcome in Matt McGarry, brother of the recently departed Kelly McGarry, Magaza, who was not afraid in any way, shape, or form of canyon gaps.
No, no.
Oh, no, sir. Anything but.
Yeah. I'm very afraid, but.
It's an honor to have you here, and I have to say personally, the first time that I came to this event was probably 4 years ago, and meeting your brother and getting to spend time with him was incredible. He not only showed his personality in his riding, but the manner in which he interacted with everyone. That he was really one of the true spirits of this event.
Yeah, he's always such a positive guy. He's just so fun to be around. So, you know, everyone liked hanging out with him, and it's also great that he's a really good rider. And
yeah,
it's cool to see.
You could never tell that he had any case of nerves, because even before his run, he'd be asking you how you were doing, if you were happy enjoying the event.
Yeah, definitely. I was always a bit nervous watching him. You know, it's a bit different when it's your brother going down there. But you know, it's really cool to see him do well. So.
Yeah, he was one of those, just a rider that would always deflect compliments, and you know, it doesn't get more humble than that. But the best thing is that he would see other riders having a tough time trying to get into the headspace, and he'd roll up, you'd see the smile, and they're like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
We're taking a look here at Cam Zink coming down, having a look.
And this is the section he's been trying to thread through. So it's good to see Zink is comfortable right now. He is nursing that shoulder that keeps coming out of socket. So that's something that come November he intends to have surgery on. Yeah,
do something about. Your brother, his spirit we talked about, and obviously you've done so much to keep it alive with the Magaza Foundation, and been hearing great things about Magaza Fest. Tell us about that and what the plans are for the foundation moving forward.
Yeah, so we've got Magaza Fest coming up in late January this year. I think it's the 25th to the 27th down in Queenstown. So it's a really good time to get down to New Zealand. You know, it's the best weather, worst weather in the US and Europe. So it's cool to get down there. And the next we'll be going up to our hometown of Nelson. One of our good friends from growing up has built it's called Magaza Land. It's a dirt jump park, and we're building an asphalt pump track there soon. I think that's coming in about March. So yeah, it'll be cool.
That's awesome. And how would you describe the intent of the foundation?
The foundation, you know, everyone sort of wants to remember him, so we're just kind of, it's like an official organization to sort of help that along. So we're like building the parks, building the trails, holding Magaza Fest. It's all his like really good friends, you know. They're all very much more organized than me. You know, I just kind of do what I'm told. But
that's awesome.
How about the process of the Magaza Spirit Award? I know it's something that's very coveted. It means so much to the riders. Sometimes eclipses even finding yourself on the podium. Talk us through that process and how it's decided, and what your plans are for that moving forward.
So it's voted on by the riders, and they sort of decide who wins it, whoever's sort of shown the best sort of Magaza type spirit. And this year it actually comes with a trip to New Zealand down to Magaza Land, so we can kind of...
Come on!
Yeah!
Come on! That's epic. Well, I mean, that's a real prize. That's right up there with People's Champ.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming by. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. And we're going to check in right now with Tina, who is with Tyler McCall and Berrecloth.
Yeah, Tyler's been down here talking to his diggers, trying to put the final touches on stuff, right? Wind obviously making a dent in their preventing the practice. But you just said that you're going to get up top and potentially start practicing.
Yeah, I'm hoping, you know, we've been out here for a few years, and usually at dusk, sometimes we get a little window. So I'd feel dumb if I weren't up there and it were to die. And I left my bike and pads up there before I went down to lunch so that I would be forced to. So even if I go up there and it's still too windy, at least I know that I tried. Because I have 2 more things to hit, and my diggers just finished this connector here for my big drop to the last jump. So if I can get those 2 things up top hit tonight, then I'm good, and I can practice this connector in the morning, ideally. But it's all crunch time. Everything's happening really fast. As always, 2 weeks just blows by, and then all of a sudden we're here. But we got the big one out of the way this morning, and that made me feel pretty good.
Yeah, we spoke to Alex earlier. He's been great. I know, you know, working with you. Anxiety the night before, does it exist?
For sure. I think by that point, though, you've had almost 2 weeks to kind of work everything out, and a lot of excitement too, and you're just kind of ready to do it. And like, there's no better feeling than rolling into that finish corral. So that kind of keeps your head in the right place and reminds you why you're doing it, because you know that feeling from years past, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch that too when you guys come down, and I mean, you just see it. You see it in the eyes. Berrecloth.
Yeah, how crazy is it that classic Utah weather, last day of practice, it's crunch time. There's a lot of guys up the hill that haven't hit a lot of their big stuff.
Yeah.
And like literally we have an hour left of practice and tomorrow's go time. And that is the last thing you want to have to wake up to tomorrow morning, a bunch of congers to go hit up. So like, how are you dealing with this wind right now, and how much does this suck?
Like my brother always says, the desert will play tricks on you, and you have to be patient, and you have to not fight it and do what it wants to do. You can't change it. So you just got to be patient. We'll get our window. We always do. And tomorrow morning's looking good. So tomorrow morning may potentially just end up rushed and kind of doing stuff you weren't planning on doing the morning of finals, which is always kind of risky. But I think we're just going to wait it out. I'm going to get up there, and I think fingers crossed we'll get a little evening session and check some stuff off and be good to go.
Absolutely, and for those of you guys that don't understand the whole wind thing, so basically our bikes, our wheels are kind of like sails, especially when you're off the ground. Like any of these guys that are riding the ridges, you can kind of get through it without eating crap, but anytime your bike leaves the ground, you end up being a sail and getting completely blown off your line, and it's just
Worst feeling in the world.
It's a no-go. Like stepping off a drop and all of a sudden getting a wind gust, and like you can see how windy that is. That's like a 15 to 20 mile an hour gust, and if you hit a drop like the ones behind us and that gust hit you, you would literally land 10 feet beside where you were gonna plan on landing.
Yeah, and some landings aren't that wide.
Absolutely, look at that one right there. It's like 6 feet wide, so you'd completely miss it. So like, you know, for athletes that have been in this kind of wind, it's easy to understand. For all of you out there that have never been in wind like this and tried to ride a bike, it is absolutely suicide to try to drop in when it's like this. And this is why it's so frustrating, because you guys want to get out there and you want to practice and get everything done, but you literally can't.
At the same time, yeah, you got to be smart about it and only ride when it's right.
Absolutely.
All right, well, hopefully this wind will die down. There is some time left this evening to get some practice up there. Tyler McCall, talked to his digger. He's put the work in, and I like that you've been here 2 weeks. You're ready for tomorrow. Sal, right now we're going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Tina. You know, freestyle motocross, skateboard, big air,
yeah.
you hear that wind factor as well. Fingers crossed things will change here.
As Rick Thorne, BMXer that we both know, back at a B3, this just in, Pat, it's difficult to ride in the wind.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely, vert ramps included.
Yeah.
We are joined now by Emmy Award winner Rebecca Rusch and Carson Storch's bike hauler. So you're actually here on the clock.
Yeah,
besides being
I've been training.
endurance superhero of mountain bikes. Congratulations on your Emmy. I was watching through the gram, and I was so proud of you.
Thank you.
What did that mean for you, given the context of what your film was?
You know, it's a totally different kind of trophy than a regular race podium, and it was so much of a group effort of all the people. You know, I put my heart and my story out there, and all these people picked it up and did a beautiful thing with it. And the biggest thing about the Emmy, really, it was super unexpected, but the most important thing is it just means the film will be seen more, and which means the story of healing and recovery and cleaning up the bombs in Laos is something that is kind of a mission that I have had since I came back from that ride. So the Emmy is just going to help elevate that experience even more. And I head back in 4 weeks. I'm going back to Laos with a group of mountain bikers. I take some back, you know, show them the place, show them what I found. It's really special. I've been back, I think, 7 or 8 times now.
Wow, and I know you put so much into just making the film, and just in terms of getting out and what you guys, from cameramen to yourself, I know it wasn't an easy feat, but maybe tell us a little bit about the cathartic aspect of the film. That's something that was really refreshing about it. Yeah, I mean, it was the biggest endurance event I've done in my life, the hardest physical thing I've done, but really I'm trained for that. I'm used to that. The hard part for me was being vulnerable and opening up and letting people in, you know, because as athletes we put up that wall. And that's why I had to ride that far, you know, to go find my dad's crash site, was to kind of peel away the defense layers. I mean, being able to share a story like that with, you know, the guys who went, the film crew that went with me, they were strangers and they became family in the end and brothers. My riding teammate, Huan, was a total stranger. We don't even speak the same language, but we are bonded in a way that is so unique. And I really do think that the healing from something as old as the Vietnam War, it starts with a ride with me and Huan together. It starts one person at a time, 2 people at a time. And it was a really special experience. And I do have to say the Red Bull Media House film crew, they probably had a harder time than I did. You know, they're on motorcycles. We knew a handful of the filmers, you know so I've heard stories.
Yeah.
It was not easy for them either. But I'm just, to be able to do a really cool thing, but then to have a product out to show it. I mean, it's just like being here at Rampage. To be able to show people what it's like to either ride the Ho Chi Minh Trail, it's really a gift to be able to let people into that world or this world.
The film is Blood Road. If you haven't seen it, you should make sure you do so. What is it like for you to get to come here to Rampage?
Oh, this is my 2nd year, and I came here last year to show Blood Road, and you know, this is not my style of riding. I usually keep my wheels on the ground, and to come here and see this in person, you see it on TV, but to really see it in person and actually feel the tension in the air and feel the wind it's like something I've never experienced. It was really intense, and to carry Carson's bike up and stand at the top and look down like that, I could understand, you know, even though I don't ride in that way, that human sort of element of really preparing your whole year and putting yourself out there. It's super intense.
Yeah, as someone that's been close to that, you know, to see Carson's mind and how it starts to operate, maybe help the viewer understand. I mean, I think there's so many people that watch this event and they think it's so huck and hope, but there's such a process that all these riders go through.
It's a long precision, even from putting their hands in the dirt and building their line and like sculpting it and dreaming about it, you know, and visualizing it. It's a very big process. And by the time they actually take their runs, and again, I'm not a free rider, but by the time I do something big, your preparation is done. It's in the bank. And at that point, hopefully, it really is, your mind gets out of the way and your body does the work that it knows how to do. And you know, I hope everyone's safe tomorrow. And the reason I want to carry Carson's bike up, and I volunteered last year, is I wanted to put a little bit of good juju in his bike. Like, I didn't want to talk to him and get into his space, but I just wanted to like let him know there's, you know, all these guys, a bunch of people are really behind what they're doing. And so I put the bike up there, you know, gave a little like, you know, and I'll do it again. I'll do it again this time. And I'm honored that he lets me play a little teeny weeny small part in it.
Well, I think it's that, and also like you can't really stand still for too long. So you being here just watching, I know that you take great joy in carrying a bike up a mountain.
I got really excited because they said this year the hike up is harder than last year. So I was like, okay, I can do it.
Yes, I'm getting my steps in. Happy to have you. We'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna check in with Tina right now, get another perspective. Check in. We can feel the wind down here, and that's rare.
It has come up.
Down here at the base. So Tina and Darren, it looks like it's howling from the flags up there.
Yeah, it is, but the riders are starting to go back up. Like we saw Tyler, who was going back up. A lot of the bikes are already back there, or up top. So they're, you know, if the wind dies down, they want to get those final practice runs in. So, but let's talk about tomorrow, because this course is massive. The jumps are, I mean, everything's so much bigger and it's so steep. And good luck to Rebecca carrying Carson's Torch's bike up, because this thing is so steep. Tomorrow, what can we expect?
Well, some of the things that I'm looking forward to and silently not looking forward to watching would be some of the things that have been scaring the crap out of me just because I'm an OG competitor, and it's getting pretty insane out here. But some of the things is Tom, he wants to flat drop flip this big conger here, which is insane, which is like probably twice as big of any flat drop flip he's done. Another thing that's kind of frightening myself would be Adolf Silva. He's been chatting about doing a double flip off one of the big senders. Yeah, I know, right? Which is absolutely mental. So he's been chatting about that, and like for me as an old guy, like I've been pretty frightened at the sound of that, you know, because it's like, man, that's some serious stuff. A lot of consequences there.
What do you think of Cam Zink coming into this one?
You know what, Cam Zink is an absolute champion, and he's one of the guys that literally just puts his head down and goes straight for it, and he comes here to win every year, and he is one of the fiercest competitors I've ever met. He can push fear aside unlike any other athlete, and right now he's dealing with a shoulder that's popping in and out fairly consistently, and you know, my opinion of him going in and just, you know, being that confident with trying to stomp a run like he's got planned, it's pretty heavy. So I'm rooting for his shoulder to stay in place and get down to the bottom, and so we can crush the beers later.
Yeah, we're actually watching Zink do a little run right now. So he's up there practicing. He's hungry along with all these riders, wanting to get some final runs in. But Cam McCall, we're going to send it over to you right now.
Thanks, Tina. Yeah, I'm hanging out with Reed Boggs right now. We're talking about the wind, and it's definitely a factor. Reed's checking out the last big step down on his run, just training the brain a little bit, looking at speeds. But we've talked a lot about guinea pigging the big step downs. But let's talk about guinea pigging one of the most unique features out here that you built up the top, that open loop. And when we say that, people at home are probably going, what are you talking about, open loop? Can you explain that feature up there?
Yeah, so I just have a lip kind of going nowhere, and then I have a landing to the left of it. And the goal is just to pop off it and spin, flip, corkscrew type thing, and look for the landing and, you know, make it there. And yeah, it's a crazy build, and I'm stoked we brought it to life. There was a feature back at Ray's MTB where I grew up riding, and I had so much fun riding it on the BMX back in the day, so figured to incorporate with my big mountain line, and it's working out so far, so I'm stoked.
Ray's MTB is an indoor mountain bike park in Cleveland, Ohio. This is Rampage, Virgin, Utah. I love the fact that you're taking ideas from the indoor, bringing it to the ultimate outdoor canvas. Explain to me what made you choose that, and we're talking about how long all these gaps are. Yours could actually be measured in negative numbers, because I'm not sure if you understand the way he's talking about it. He's traveling backwards. He's pulling out from the lip and going backwards. What was it about that piece of the mountain that gave you that idea?
Yeah, so we kind of found a little canyon gap, and we weren't sure where we wanted to go after that. So we knew we wanted to do that jump. We built that, and then we built a lip. And we're like, oh, there was a landing right kind of left of it. And yeah, it was kind of oververt just to kind of let it set me back. And yeah, it worked this morning, so hopefully it'll work tomorrow morning again and have some fun down the mountain. It's gonna be sick.
That's one of the best parts about Rampage, is that you get all these riders from different backgrounds and different mindsets, and you guys have tendencies to see things that nobody else may see. You're not technically a Rampage rookie because you were on the rider list last year, but you had a crash right before finals, so this will be your first actual competition run tomorrow. How good does it feel to be back, man? You get an automatic invite if you get top 10. Unfortunately, you didn't have that luxury, but you got chosen to be back. How good does that feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. You know, just lots of hard work this year on the big bike. I just wanted to earn my spot here, and I'm back, and yeah, I'm ready to drop tomorrow. I'm fired up and ready to send it. It's gonna be awesome.
We're excited to see it, man. Thanks for all your creativity, and tune in to watch this guy put it all together tomorrow. Thanks, Reed. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cam. 21 was a fun age, right?
Why not?
We're joined by Aaron Chase, an incredible rider, live announcer for this event. But there's something about that energy you see with Reed Boggs. Like, it's all that 21-ness mixed with ability.
I love it. I mean, he's got something that he really loves to ride, and he's excited to ride. Like, it's really cool. He's got that open loop feature, and that's getting him buzzing. And I just like seeing people like get out here having fun, because, you know, this can be like just, it can play a lot of games with you being up there and kind of like, am I going to be okay, or am I going to really light it up? And Reed's looking like looking like $1 million.
The open loop feature, it's something, the second I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is something right out of Aaron's wheelhouse. I mean,
Right.
you're one that approaches riding with such a kind of blank canvas. What are some of the other features that you're seeing that you're just amazed that the riders were even able to, A, put it together, and then B, build it?
Well, yeah, okay. So I think one of my favorite features has to be Fairclough's rock drop, the Dwayne Johnson drop. That thing's super cool, and the landing straight underneath you, right? And then moving on to some of like just the bigger straight up size does matter out here, and there's a bunch of that, and you just go, wow, like, yeah, there's more and more guys looking to jump really big stuff. So that's probably like the biggest switch from, you know, ridge lines in years past. Now everyone's got a big, huge, downright scary drop.
It's really hard to handicap the field. I mean, in years past, I think it's safe to say that people would say about four to five, like really crazy lines, and the rest, it depends on what they would sprinkle in there. But I think seeing what everyone has been throwing down in practice and knowing their lines and what they intend to do, if everyone has a top to bottom run, it's anyone's Rampage at this moment.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Rampage is looking back. There's a ridge line down the center. Who peels off onto the biggest drop? Whatever. Like, it's a lot easier to kind of just see that and go, like that looks scary. That looks big. The Heart last year with Zink and those guys coming down. But yeah, this time, I mean, Graham Agassi's way over here on the rocks. These guys are way over here dropping off that Republican drop, which is huge. And there's a bunch of stuff like right in the middle too. I mean, between you know, Reader's stuff and Seminuk's lines, it's going to be a tough day for the judges tomorrow.
Get some rest on the pipe, some tea and some honey for tomorrow. It's going to be a long day. Yeah, new course with no place to hide.
Right.
And it's going to make things extremely exciting. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Aaron, tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, can you believe it?
I can and I can't.
As the golden hour dips down, but now we look onward and forward.
As the sun sets in Virgin, Utah.
Romantic.
Tomorrow, we are going to do this thing for real. 11 Mountain Time on Red Bull TV. Make sure that you don't miss it. Put aside any plans you had with family or work. Let them know where your priorities lie, and tune in for Rampage tomorrow. We'll see you at 11 Mountain Time. This, my friends, is Rampage.
This is the place to prove it, pretty much. This is the place to go the biggest.
Put your head together!
Rampage is like the Olympics of riding bikes.
It's gnarly. Throughout the years, it's been same kind of concept. Come out, build your own line, and get judged on your big mountain riding abilities.
It's not a set course, it's whatever you want it to be. It's how you link a lineup in your head and the way you look at the mountain and picture the way down.
Use the slope as an open canvas to say, okay, I want to paint a little line down there, because that's what all these athletes are doing. You go out there and you create it, and then you ride it. It's awesome.
Yeah, just stoked on the whole entire thing. Crazy seeing how many fans are here and how rad it's gonna get.
It's gonna be a heck of a show. Everybody's gonna throw down. People are hungry, and you're gonna see it. There's blood in the water, and the sharks are around.
It's super rad how far mountain biking has come.
Is he really gonna do this? Oh, no way! Caveman off the start drop.
Red Bull Rampage, strap in. It begins right now.
Once the very first Rampage happened, and somebody went, oh my God, you can ride a line down that bluff.
Then there's guys that started bringing the tricks to the backcountry, like Berrecloth and Straight and Zink, Cedric even, which completely started to evolve it.
It's the first time we saw rotations in Red Bull Rampage.
The Red Bull Rampage went full slope style, tons of builds, all out of wood, simulating a slope style course in the big mountain.
The Oakley Icon Center, I mean, that thing was massive.
Slowly, we've been kind of working back towards our roots and where it all started.
Now it's come full circle all the way back to the natural lines.
The whole point of Rampage from the start is progression, and it's all about keeping that progressive spirit alive, and the energy that comes along with it is insane.
This is one of the most prestigious events you can win on a bike.
Being Rampage champion is a dream.
Only the baddest dudes win this event.
Rider 13, Kelly Garrett.
That's mountain bike history right there.
I mean, there's always nerves at Rampage, you know, like it's just by itself without anything else. You know, if there was nobody else here, there's nerves going on. These are heavy, heavy lines.
At Rampage, every decision has to be flawless.
This is one of the most dangerous events ever, and the consequences are just heavy.
This place is gnarly for sure. It's more raw in real life than you could ever picture in your head.
Big step down with a lip. 360 down. Go!
Just to go down it is just absolutely nuts.
That's where I think big mountain riding is, you know, technical riding, some new school moves, big drops.
Currently being emitted from this valley in Virgin, Utah is officially off the charts.
Rampage has changed the sport of mountain biking. It's shown a lot of riders in general what is possible on a bike. I'm so stoked to be part of an event like this that's, you know, pushing mountain biking so far and pushing the limits each time it happens.
You have to go there and put in 120% because that's the only way to really do it successfully.
Maybe we'll reach the limits of the human body somewhere along the way, but with Rampage, it doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere close to it right now.
I can't wait to see what's in store for us next year.